What is up, everybody? Welcome into the Tuesday Track Talk podcast, episode number 4, featuring your Three Stones pit crew. I'm your gas man, Cameron.
I'm your jack man, Kellen.
And I'm your tire changer, Cam.
Yeah, so episode number 4, another loaded episode this week. So we're going to talk some NASCAR Cup Series as we typically do. We had a cut race at the Roval, and then we're going to get into some local racing in the state of Wisconsin and the ASA Midwest Tour, Oktoberfest 200. So that's going to be kind of the plan. And then lastly, we're going to try something a little bit new. We got the High Limit Sprint Car Series wrapping up the season tonight, and that race is rolling right now. We got heat races, so we're going to watch along kind of the A main, and as us Three Stones watch, we'll just kind of chat about, what we got going on. Obviously, the big headlines there is Rico and Larson racing for the championship tonight. So that's what we got on the docket. Full disclosure, we're probably going to get a little bit sidetracked as those heat races are rolling. So we might throw in a couple blurps as cars are on their domes and stuff like that. So bear with us. We're trying something new tonight and expanding our horizons. So pit stop came in. I got the car full of gas, 2 cans, and we're ready to roll for this episode. So how you boys doing?
Yeah, we're good, man. We're just I honestly I enjoyed the getting back to the Midwest tour around here. That was a blast this weekend. I couldn't be there, but that was fun to watch. And then just keeping an eye on the HTF Super Dirt Series wrapping up their season championship. You got night 1 down at Swainsboro. You got night 1 Joyner going in leading the points, struggles night 2 and end up not winning the championship. So it was interesting to follow because it was just so close. So that was kind of cool to follow. And then obviously the Midwest Tour around here. So that's pretty awesome to have that close to home big race feel around here, especially like when we kind of talked about last week with that strength of field. Your super late model rankings guy telling us that's a top 10% field in the country. So that's pretty cool to have around here. I mean, we could talk racing for hours with the stuff this weekend, but we'll try to keep it under 2 hours this week.
No, it was a great weekend. Weather turned nice and cool. I'm always a big fan of the cooler weather, and it turned out for some great races at Oktoberfest. I was able to get there, so we'll cover that in a little bit. But no, I mean, just another great weekend of racing. Packers played about as expected as we would have expected out of that, so we'll just leave it at that. Cam, I know you got to actually go to the Badger game this past weekend. How was that?
Good. Before I get into that, I love how we always, talk about our little so-called production meeting, and it's like these little intro bits. It's supposed to be, let's talk a little bit non-racing related things, like what's going on in our personal lives. Never happens.
It always steers right back into it.
We fire the intro to talk, just some other stuff, and it's what's new in your world. Racing. So
yep.
We can go ahead. Another Badger game real quick.
Yeah, quick hitter on the Badger game. Obviously I got to go down with Carolyn, my girlfriend, and mom and dad took them to their first Badger game. Kind of was some last minute planning, so got to go. Had some good seats. Got them from a coworker, and he's like, you're going to be in the old people section. And we were. So he's like, don't get too rowdy. But no, it was a fun game, fun experiences, homecoming. So kind of a lot going on. But no, it was fun to go. Obviously, they won. So makes the experience a little bit better. But yeah, it was fun.
Camp Randall's always a place, if you can get there for a game, especially now with the new program and the changing of the guard and all the other stuff. If you can get to Camp Randall is just a feel like none other. I've been to 2 Badger games myself. that place is just gotta feel like none other. It's an awesome place. You're right on top of the field. It's loud. It's an awesome place if you can go to a game.
Yeah. You talk about, tailgates too, when you talk about Packer games and how friendly they are and, some of the activities that go on. I mean, you get the college kids of Madison, Wisconsin getting involved in tailgates. And yikes, you've got some festivities going on. We'll just leave it at that.
Well, and it was interesting. So his mom and dad, Cal, our mom and dad's first time at a Badger game. So
Yeah.
we got there. It's 11 o'clock game, so it's like, whatever, homecoming. And we're looking at the student section, and you start the game, and it's bare, like whatever. They got the whole corner of that stadium blocked off for the student section. And just as the game goes along, you just see that student section just building, and of course everybody's there for jump around. So by about the end of the third quarter, I'd say halftime, it's pretty much full. And third quarter, it's jump around and it's full. And then literally about midway through the fourth quarter, back down to bare bones. So, yeah, we got to work. Yeah, homecoming. So, yeah, we got to work on the dedication there, and commitment to the game. But no, it's a good experience, and yeah, I was happy I was able to do that, and yeah, it was fun. So, anything else going on in your guys' world?
No, ready to talk some racing.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, so obviously I said quick pit stop. I got the car full of gas, so the boys are ready to go. So we had an elimination race Sunday, Charlotte Roval, in kind of an, I don't want to say unexpected winner, but obviously AJ Allmendinger gets the job done, and I think that was huge for Colleague, and we know AJ Allmendinger's a road course monster, so it was good to see him and Colleague get it done. And honestly, he's known for his road course racing, but I guess I didn't put him in my fantasy lineup, so it wasn't somebody that I had picked to potentially win it. But yeah, I guess I'll kick it around to you guys. What were your thoughts on the Roval? Headlines, obviously we eliminated 4 guys, but what were your guys' thoughts on the Roval just initially? And we'll get into a few topics after that. But first initial thoughts on the Roval race and the cut race. What were you boys thinking?
I think the first thing was that I think there was a lot of discussion about having the stage breaks back after the stages and how that was going to affect the race. I think it added a little bit of definitely the strategy, but also it helped with the not the attention span, but it kept you kind of on the edge, and especially with the restarts, how those are going to play out and if there was going to be an effect with that. Otherwise, I think it was just there wasn't a lot, there wasn't any controversy out of it. There wasn't, I think the race itself, outside of the playoffs, there wasn't a whole lot of big storylines out of it. I mean, again, you talk about Dinger getting the win out of it, first non-playoff driver to get a win in this playoffs this year. Yeah, it was a race that happened, not a whole lot of controversy out of it, but it ended up being a good race down at the end with Dinger and Byron kind of going at it.
Yeah, I'm really glad that NASCAR put those brakes back in there. I think it just, in some of these road courses, if you don't have a caution where you tear some stuff up, you just don't have the opportunity to regroup the field. And kudos and kudos to the teams that are fast. Like, there's no doubt about it. The teams that are fast, they'll find their way to the front. But again, when you refer to the strategy, I think that helps a ton in terms of, well, you maybe have a car that fires off for 3 or 4 or 5 laps or short run speed that can make a run at it and gain some positions. That adds to it, where somebody on a longer run is going to have to do a little work later in the run. So I hats off to NASCAR for doing that. That was good. I really enjoyed that. But I think when you look at the finish of that race, man, you got Dinger up there winning it. You got William Byron. Is Byron starting to get to be a road course guy?
I think he's just starting to get to be an all around guy that week in, week
Dude.
out, you got to keep him in mind.
Well, I did for the five times already. So
Yikes.
I got my 80-point lead, and I'm looking at that going, well, I can't run him anymore. I'm going to be in trouble here. So, but no, man, it was a good race. You had a couple incidents, especially in that chicane right before the start finish.
Yep.
Who sailed it through there? Was that Chastain that had somebody inside of him, and he literally on purpose missed that second turn in the chicane because somebody was coming behind him and was going to take him out. He pulled through there and stopped.
I know Keselowski did at one point in time. He ended up running through it.
It was
had to stop.
it was Brad K. That's who it was. So even then, there, like, it heads up to the spotter and Chastain to get that through there, that it was going to be a Jimmy Johnson, Martin Truex 2.0. Sends it all in there, gets them with the door. But the heads up on the spotter and both the driver to just say, you know what? Instead of tearing this thing up, blow through there, come to a stop, back at her. So, I mean, you got Denny Hamlin who gets turned around in there, that same exact spot. That kind of came to be the culprit of the race there for guys that were going to tear stuff up. So, yeah, no, man, that I thought it turned out to be, I give that race like an 8.6 out of 10. So good show.
I think we, for what the Roval could be, like our tire changer kind of mentioned it. Good, clean racing, not a ton of storylines, and you go to a Roval on an elimination race. We could have come out of there with a lot of storylines. The ability to, the boys could get a little bit rowdy at a Roval on an elimination race, but for the majority of the race, I mean, there was a few incidentals. It didn't look like anything was super intentional for the most part, just good, hard, clean racing.
Yeah.
And obviously that's what we live for, but good to see Dinger get a win and for colleague. But to your point on Byron, I think that's just somebody who the team, the driver, they're dialed
They're clicking
100%. And Byron is just a guy that knows when he needs to go, knows when he needs to ride, knows what he wants in his car, and his team gives him exactly that. And the future of NASCAR with him, it could be miserable for a lot of other guys the way that team is firing, the way that team is firing. So
for sure, it's scary.
Yeah, it is. And how old is Willie? 24?
24, 25.
That could be me.
And he just doesn't get rattled. It just doesn't seem like he gets rattled at all in the big moments, riding up front, big moments, like he's just an even keeled
25.
Unreal.
He's a grizzled vet. Seems like a grizzled vet.
Yeah, he is, absolutely.
And
so I saw something today. I got to talk about this because this was just so interesting to me. So we talk about, Denny kind of having that in between, and we talk about the Hendrick guys kind of having a good head on their shoulders and doing all this stuff. So they talked to Jeff Gordon a little bit about the conversation with Denny and having all this stuff. But long and short of it, what Jeff Gordon said on Sirius XM is that he doesn't want his guys to be in the middle of the controversy like Hamlin is.
Sure.
Okay. So Byron right there, right? Level-headed. He's got his head on his shoulders. He's not going to do anything rash by any means. But then Denny comes back and said, I'll never run my team saying things like that. So is that paying dividends now for Hendrick, knowing how he's got those guys set up the way he does? Man, they were just so conflicting because, of course, Denny's got his was it actions detrimental, I think they call
Actions
it.
detrimental. Yep.
And he responded to that statement at Gordon. But when you talk about moments like that, I think Hendrick, especially when you look at who they have in their program, when you talk about a Jeff Gordon, you talk about Chad Knaus, right? Like, I think those are those moments that they can grow those guys faster than he's 25 years old, but he's got the
Yeah.
experience of somebody that's probably in his mid 30s because they just coach those guys so well.
Yeah. And it's, as far as like the not being involved in the controversy side of things, I mean, you see Hendrick over the years, it's, they're clean cut, well spoken, like they're, I hate to throw the phrase around, but they're corporate drivers.
Yep.
Type of thing. Whereas you get, a Hamlin or, some other guys, they're a little bit more outlandish and free spoken and kind of voice what's on their mind type of thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think Hamlin definitely stirs the pot on a lot of discussions and deservingly so, but you got to have the wide variety of guys too. And that's what makes it so great is you get them two guys that go against each other. It's all right. See if the wily guy can rattle the cage of the corporate or the well-cut guy. See if we can get them riled up a little bit.
And kind of to that point, I think that's one interesting point that I want to make on that is the Hendrick drivers, they never make the headlines by what they say. They're never given a Denny interview where they're saying some, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're always, respectful. But the flip side of that is we have had, I guess I don't want to call him out, but I'm going to, but like Chase Elliott, that's somebody who's hasn't ever done anything like said anything like, irrational or coming at people with a microphone in front of him. But that's somebody who, when he's in the car and he's buckled in, he's made some, some questionable decisions.
Yeah.
He got suspended. So, definitely an interesting dynamic. Like you said, Hendrick drivers, they never make the headlines with what they say. But their driving does the talking for the good or for the bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Leave it on the track.
Yep.
So,
very true.
Yeah, interesting race, but we eliminated 4 more drivers.
Yeah.
And I'm just recapping what we mentioned last week. I think it was a clean sweep. Our expectations of Reddick running well, bumping, I believe it was Brad K out. Bubba.
Yep.
Kyle Busch and Chastain. So I guess from that aspect of it, I don't think there was really any surprises.
No.
On the elimination side of it, what we expected. But the one point that I was going to bring up is Kyle Busch, somebody who gave it everything he had. And
he tried, and he banged the wall a few times. I thought he was going to be done.
Yeah. And he gave that thing everything he had, and he left it all on the track in a clean fashion. But the interesting point, in the interview, I thought post-race, he was going to be Kyle Busch fashion, snippy, kind of upset, and he wasn't. And he just said it was bittersweet. The crew did a great job, gave him a car. They were there at the end, had a chance, and he just basically said, I cannot have a Talladega and a Texas performance in the playoffs and expect to have a chance.
Yep.
So, yeah, that was our Jackman, one of his final 4 picks. But yeah, I guess any surprises there on the cut? What you guys saw? Obviously, Bubba he spun out. So when that kind of happened, it was like
you kind of knew he was in for a little bit. Yeah,
he serious uphill battle for him. So that was kind of the writing on the wall. But I guess any surprises or thoughts on the guys that we eliminated there?
No, I don't.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
No, I don't think so. I mean, if there was going to be any swapping, I think it was going to be between Reddick and Bubba, just because Reddick was going into a road course. Bubba, he's okay, but maybe not the best. Needed a little bit of help, didn't get it, and Reddick took advantage of it. So, no, I'm not surprised by any means. I think you brought up the point of Bush made a comment of, can't have a Talladega. You can't have any of those mistakes. Chastain said the same thing. He's like, well, Dega happened. We had a bad race there and it cost us. So, it gets more difficult. You can't have a bad race, or otherwise you're going to have a severe uphill climb.
And I think to your point, and I'm going to go exactly on the point you just talked about. Well, my first point is going to be Talladega. That's why Talladega's in the playoffs.
Yep.
This is exactly it. You look at it and everybody's they're after Martin Truex a little bit because he's the first driver in the round of 12 to finish worse than 17th in all 3 races, and he still made it through. So there's a debate on that, but in the same sense, that's what winning the season title does for your playoffs.
Yes.
You carry those points along. Now you look at it again, he's above the cut line going into the first race of the next round.
The regular season matters.
Absolutely.
Regular season matters.
Absolutely. But the only other thing I think when you look at the guys who were eliminated, Brad K, I figured he'd be a little better off than what he was. He'd have been the guy, and I think that spin in that chicane coming in the start finish line there kind of killed it for him. But he was one I just expected to run better, being a veteran, older veteran, that I figured he'd run a little better to get himself in. So,
well,
I don't know. It was you could flip a coin at that point and pick the last guy in and the last guy out. So
you can make an argument for each one of them.
Yeah, 100%.
You can make an argument for each one of them. And again, Brad Keselowski, that wreck at Dega, that was the one that put the nail in the coffin, or at least it started the grave. It's just that he was running good. He was in a good position. If he had finished, he'd have been a lot better position. Probably could have made it in at points, but that wreck at Dega hurt him. And again, you can't have a bad race.
It wasn't quite the coffin, but it dug the hole to put the coffin in it.
Yep. 100%.
For sure.
And I think tying a bow on that conversation, hopefully everybody took note on what Martin Truex has done, to your point on the importance of winning the regular season title, because is that not what we're looking for next year? These drivers are going to be like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
And then it's going to be like, well, he won the regular season title. And then next year it's going to be like, when we get in the regular season, boys ain't giving an inch.
Look at the first year of this, the year that he won his championship with the stages. Look at how many stage points he racked up and the advantage that he had throughout those playoffs. He probably spent that entire playoff season focusing on that Homestead car.
Yep.
Survive, finish the races. Let's worry about Homestead.
Yep. So, man, I don't know. I really don't think when you look at the storyline of the cut, especially the guys who are on the cut line, some of them had issues, and that played into that. Now, there's obviously more to it, Talladega, but I do think it kept it interesting the whole race.
Yep.
Kept you again, and maybe not so much the storyline of the race itself, but it kept you drew in to that box on the side, that cut line.
Yep.
Guy is here. He's 2 above. Now he's 2 below. Now Bush is 30 behind. Now he's 2 below. It just, you couldn't look away from that tracker for the cut line.
Nope.
And I think getting into kind of the twofold conversation of, you can't have a Dega and looking at that cut line, looking ahead at the next 3 tracks, and we're going to kind of tie this into another topic that is already a hot commodity, is the 2024 schedule that was just released. And there's already been some big names that are outspoken on it. and disagree with it, but I guess kind of first looking at the next three races that we got in the playoffs here. We got Vegas, Homestead, Martinsville. So
Martinsville, baby. I'm here for Martinsville. Let's go.
those are the next three races we got coming up in the round of 8. Currently below the cut line is Busher in 5, who's -3, Bell -8, Reddick -8, and Blaney -10. So I guess as we look ahead at the round of 8, and Busher, Bell, Reddick, Blaney, that's who we're looking at below the cut line. I guess kind of quick hit here, at those three races, is there anybody that you guys see that could sneak into the top 4? And tire changer, don't say Blaney out of bias.
No, it isn't. But
Fortunately, yeah.
there, a guy, Reddick. I'm looking at Reddick. I think look at what he did at Kansas. They're right there on the 1.5 miles. Vegas is going to be a good track. Homestead, that's a top groove feeders track there. I mean, we all know him and Larson are the first two that go exploring that top line. I'm keeping an eye on Reddick. I bet you he can get himself into the top 4 before Martinsville and survive Martinsville on points to get in. He'll be close, but I think he can get in. And of course, the conversation is who's getting kicked out. Truex is on that thin line. And if there's somebody that I think is going to get eliminated, I think it's going to be Truex.
Stop. That's my champ. I'm going to say, so yep, kind of going on your point when you talk about that Homestead race, especially with that being a track that's going to widen out. To go to your point, I'm going to say the 5 of Kyle Larson's going to get through. He's gonna be one of the first ones to find speed at Homestead on the top. He's going to run well there. And then I think Martinsville moderately plays into his hand to a certain extent because he's done so much short track racing in his life. I think he's just going to know what he needs when he gets there. So that's kind of I'm going to say Larson's going to be somebody that's going to find his way into the Final 4.
One more point I want to make before Cam, you make your pick. The why I was struggling so much was Chris Buescher. He's got kind of a hot hand. He knows when to be there, but I think he's gonna miss it that much.
Stop. No. Get out of here. No. And he's not. Don't even think about him for the Final 4. Get out of here.
That's I'm sticking with it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Damn it.
So I was looking at those 4 guys below the cut line, and obviously, again, iron sharpens iron, and we're down to 8, and we're getting to the best of the best. And Blaney just got a win, so restrictor plate, but just got to win. You never know what a win does for a team.
Yeah.
Gives them the confidence. We've talked about it on the episode. You get a win, a big time win like that, and you show up to the track confident in your team, knowing what you're looking for. Got a little pep in your step. Somebody that could, that win, build some momentum for that team and they get rolling. But I was actually going to say, and Kellen, you already shot it down, is
here we go.
Look, do I want Busher? Do I want Busher in the Final 4? No, I don't.
Then don't pick him.
I'm not picking him. I'm saying though, we're going to Vegas and Homestead and these 1.5 mile tracks.
If there's a Ford that does good at them,
it's somebody that scares me that could get a win and somehow find his way in the Final 4. I don't want to see it, but it's somebody he's got 3 wins on the year, and he's shown he can get it done at these tracks and run well. He's -3. I mean, I don't know.
Going to be minus
It's a
40.
scary
after
thought,
this week.
but you kind of look at Bell and Reddick too. Those are both guys that Toyota's not lacking any speed. So you look at those two right there. You guys kind of hit on Reddick already, but Bell's another one. I mean, he's for the majority of playoffs, he's qualified well. He's been able to run up front. He's somebody that could get it done. So
I think again, you can make a solid argument for all the 8 guys that made it in, and you can make a solid argument for each of them guys to make it into the Final Four.
Yep.
Yeah.
And again, we're getting that nitty-gritty, like you said, iron sharpens iron. You got to be on your game these next really 4 races. The next 3 if you want to get in, and the final one if you want to win it all.
Yeah. And I think kind of wrapping up this cup conversation, on one of our earlier episodes, we all gave our Final Four picks. And I would just like to revisit those Final Four picks solely out of the fact that I'm 4 for 4 right now.
Oh, get out of here.
No, that's not the only. That's not the only.
Stop.
That's not the only reason that I want to bring it
Sick.
back. But I'm trying to find out where we put those.
It's in the content tab.
Yep, content.
So, here's where we stand on our championship 4. Our Jackman Kellen, he picked Byron, Truex, Kyle Busch, and Kyle Larson, with his champion being Truex.
Yep.
Tire changer Cameron picked Byron, Truex, Hamlin, Logano, with his champion being Byron. And the gas man myself, I picked Byron, Truex, Hamlin, Larson being my champion. So, quick hitter, how we feeling? You guys, Kellen, you got Truex as your champ. Cam, you got Byron. I got Larson. Quick hitter. How you guys feeling?
I'll trade with Van Gogh.
Nope, I'm keeping Byron.
Nope.
I'm feeling good. I am feeling good. And I tell you what, my fantasy shows that too, because I've got Byron for 4 more races. I'm coming for you. I am ready to go for these Final 4.
Good night. See ya.
Tell, so you're
obviously I had Logano in there. I was out in the first round. I'll take that on me. But I love my championship pick. I'm ready.
Truex is going to get
how
there.
you feeling?
He's going to get there. Truex is going to get there. It's just going to be what he's got to do to try to win the whole deal. I don't feel bad. I think he's traditionally been a Martinsville guy that's been fairly quick. So if he can go into Martinsville, if he can go into Martinsville being above the cut, I think he'll be all right. So that's where it's going to be. But I don't know. I took Rowdy on his early success in the season, and unfortunately, that took a turn for the worse for me. So still 3 for 4 to this point. So I don't know. I'm not feeling too bad about it, but we got to get that 19 car wicked up here to get there.
How are you feeling, Cam?
Yeah. So obviously you guys both have had a driver eliminated. I got my championship 4. I got all 4 above the cut line right now. So you boys would think I'm feeling good, but I'm not. Obviously, I picked Kyle Larson as my champion, and it's been a stressful 2 weeks, and it ain't going to get any better. We're 3 above the cut line, and yeah, I'm not feeling good about my champ pick. He's a certified wheelman. Love him. He can get the job done. Absolutely. But a Vegas and a Homestead, he's a Texas race away from being eliminated. He gets to the front when he was running down Bubba, and he obviously wants to get the lead and run the lead, and he runs it in there too far and doesn't touch Bubba, but gets tight and smashes up his car. So these 2 mile and a half tracks are definitely scary. I got all 4 alive, but my champ has not been helping the sleep at night, to say the least. So definitely some interesting storylines as we get into the round of 8 and Vegas. So any other final thoughts on the Cup Series there this last weekend, or guys getting eliminated? Final thoughts?
I'm ready. I'm ready for this next round.
Oh, this could be great. This could be great.
This is gonna be awesome.
Yeah, we've got a loaded next round coming up. So yeah, we're all fired up for the Cup Series. Obviously, we'll continue to touch on it in the next couple episodes as we're playing fantasy and we're getting down to obviously crowning a champion. But let's pivot a little bit. Not going on a NASCAR series. We're going on a local series. Track kind of down by me. Obviously, the ASA Midwest Tour had the Oktoberfest 200. What was it? 4 nights of racing or 3?
Yeah, 4 nights, Thursday through Sunday. The Oktoberfest weekend, the 58th annual weekend, if I remember correctly.
So, well, let's see your sweatshirt.
Nope, 54th.
Come on.
54th.
Can't be
I know. I'm
having that on the
I'm
podcast,
sorry.
dude.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm
we're
slacking.
gone. We'll take applicants for replacement.
Yeah, anybody else? Can anybody else be a tire changer? But no, so 4 nights there. Obviously you must have been sleeping during the race and you don't know what running it was. And anyways, but
no, I was trying to stay
I wasn't
warm.
there. What?
I was trying to stay warm, not freeze my cojones off.
Yeah, I was not there, but got to see a lot of the highlights and some interesting storylines. But we'll let the boots on the ground, the tire changer, give us your thoughts, some of the storylines you brought from being boots on the ground at the track. Give us your thoughts, and then we'll kind of chime in from there.
Yeah, so we'll start on Thursday, and really we'll start before even the races get going. Yeah, I'm sorry, fellas, but I got to bring it up. Your boy Crosse, the motor gremlins got at him. So if from what I heard was he had just gotten that motor back from his issues at Madison, was just rebuilt, went out for practice, wasn't great, qualifying wasn't great. From the sounds of it, it was either the belt or the pump on the oil pump that went out. It froze or it seized the one of the pistons, broke the rod in it, and it just motor was gone on it. So they weren't able to secure another motor because of what happened with Sommers, which we'll get into here in a little bit. But yeah, his weekend was done really before it could even start.
And tying that back into on last week's episode, if you didn't listen, we all 3 made picks 0 for 3. And I am obviously a Crouse homer. And so any race he shows up to, I'm just going to pick him just because I love him. So fat. Kellen, you picked Dan Fredrickson, and
who was there at the end? Damn it. Thank you, Dalton.
Van Grohl picked the hammer that he usually is in time.
Was also there at the end.
Thank you, Dalton Zier.
So yeah, I guess that sucked for Crouse. And I texted Kellen right off the bat when I tuned into the little live look in, and he's the only car running a 20-second lap, and it's like, all right, here we go again. Got issues before we even got started. So
and
hate it for him. It sucks. But go ahead.
If you look at it last year, that was a really good pick. He led late.
Yeah.
He led that race late. He won the Knights race. He led laps late, and you even watched the highlights from last year. He took him 3 wide to get the lead there at one point. Like the dude had a setup to be on the podium at a minimum at that place. So
yeah, he's just had some motor gremlins hurt him the entire year.
Yeah.
So, but no, in the futures race, Max Kaler driving the Chase number 47 car. The likes of Casey Johnson, Andy Monday have raced that in the past. He ends up winning that one. And then Jacob Gady takes the Knights race. That was a really, really good race.
Yeah,
Gady held off Majeski there at the end. That's always been one of the top 3 races on the year. No, so really good race in there. In that race, Sommers, let's see, it was Sommers, Jeremy Lepak, and got in a wreck with each other, and Colin Refner. They all got in a wreck. Sommers' car destroyed his primary car. I don't think it was his primary, but it was going to be the car he was going to run most of the weekend. So he doesn't get a chance to run the Trickle 99 on Friday, but we got an early reveal of the new car that he had, so that was really cool to see. But no, it took out an early favorite.
and unfortunate. Hold that thought.
Right.
Unfortunately,
Quick timeout. Breaking news. We are running the dash.
oh boy.
High limits. Rico, he's got the lead in the dash. Larson just spun out.
Uh-oh.
Huh?
So let's see what's going on. Obviously, we'll bring up the stats here when we get into it, but Rico needs to win the race to try to win the championship, and he is on the pole for the dash or started outside roll of the dash. He just took the lead, ran away with it. Here comes the replay.
Oh, I just lost it.
No, hang on. Here comes the 13.
Oh, Larson just lost it.
He lost it all by himself.
Yep.
Wow. You don't see that very often. Uh-oh.
That shakes things up a little bit. See how
We'll see how that car is in traffic.
He's getting the push. He's good to go.
I think I saw that if Rico wins the race, he needs Larson to finish 7th or 8th to win the title. It was either 7th or 8th.
Sure.
Which I think there's 8 cars in the stash. So
there should be 6.
Either way, you're going to think that Larson's going to gain a spot or 2 here, but
yeah. Anyways, sorry, that was our first interruption, but yeah, we were talking Sommers.
And unfortunately and you hate it for the Wausau guy in Jeremy Lepak. I mean, the dude got collected at Madison and tore that car up hard. He tore a car up at Slinger. He tore that car up at Madison, and then he gets it put back together to come down here and run this race. And it just seemed like, because Sommers was outside of who was running.
Sommers was outside of Refner.
And Refner I don't know if Refner
kind of lost it. It was a combination of Refner kind of lost it and Sommers kind of pinched him hard going in.
And it was just kind of, honestly, it was just kind of a racing deal. It wasn't
and they were both fine until Lepak came in. Lepak was trying to avoid. He hit Refner, tore that front end off, and piled into Sommers.
Yeah,
just
he literally
really a racing deal.
He parked on Sommers' windshield.
On Sommers, yes. That also, I had mentioned that Crouse maybe had a backup plan. Sommers was going to loan his car, or at least the motor. I think it was probably the car to Crouse to run the weekend, but with that car getting wrecked, those plans went dashed as well. So, no, again, Knights race proven to start setting the model for the weekend early, taking out a couple of guys that ended up ending Lepak and Refner's weekends and put Sommers behind as well. So moving on, Big 8 race. Big 8 race was really good as well. They've always put on a good race on the weekend. Also crowned their champion.
Quick hit. Rico wins the dash. Larson's going to start P7.
Rico, Cap Henry, Corey Eliason, Kerry Madsen, Kevin Thomas Jr., Tyler Courtney, Kyle Larson is your top 7.
So interesting storyline.
I do got to talk about Trickle 99 because I did skip that as well.
Yeah, my bad. Sorry, I'm interrupting too much.
No, you're fine. Trickle 99, one of the great events, 3 33-lap features, run over the night with various inverts throughout the evening. Majeski takes that one with Dalton Zier and Casey Johnson rounding out the top 3 in points. Casey Johnson, good to see him back in racing.
Yeah, awesome.
But no, Majeski was a heavy favorite going into that, and he proves it why. Real slick
Jeff,
trophy too.
yeah, Jeff Storm ran the Trickle 99, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
So hold on. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch the 7-minute video of the Ty Fredrickson interviews from the rain delay.
Oh,
Jeff Storm, are you going to run the 200? This Jeff Storm, no. Irresponsible Jeff Storm? Yep, I really want to. I've watched that video like 6 times. Abby will go to me, are you watching that video again? I mean, the comedy in that video. I mean, you go to Ryan Farrell, check box number 1 for the scavenger hunt, gets smoked by a 14-year-old. No, we were. Oh, that's right. I blew up at the Dells. Check that box. No, but that's funny.
rain delay shenanigans.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, again, some really good racing throughout there. Always one of the great events, obviously honoring Dick Trickle and the legacy that he had throughout the state of Wisconsin. Also wrapped up the lacrosse late models championship. Jacob Gady wins that one. Also takes home, Skylar Holshausen takes home the championship there. His first one, which actually was really surprising. That's his first championship at lacrosse. So
it's pretty cool throwback scheme on that 78.
Yes.
That was pretty cool looking. Purple and purple, yellow, white car.
Yep. Cool. And of course, if it's a Holshausen, it's a Ford. So
yeah.
No, quick recap with that one there. Saturday, the Big 8 race, that was another great race there. Jacob Gady putting on a great show. And Zach Riddle. I mean, you want to talk about Jacob Gady and Zach Riddle, some good racing and respecting each other. I mean, that's as good as it gets, running side by side with each other for as long as they did.
Especially running too wide at a place like that, where to me, it's always crazy just how that turn 1, when you look at it, it's just so wide going in.
Yes.
You got so many different lines that you can go into turn 1 that in especially some of these short tracks around here, it's so hard to hang on the outside, where it just felt like all weekend you had guys that could run the outside and they could just
absolutely
be there. You're going to lose a little on the middle, but on exit, you're just going to have the speed to get there. So that was awesome. I did have the opportunity I wasn't there, but I got to watch those races. That it's just, you look at them and they're just door to door for lap after lap after lap, which is, you couldn't ask for anything more in a short track race. So
no,
super cool to see that.
And the bolt. Go ahead.
I wasn't able to watch, but I obviously know Lacrosse Speedway. But Kellen, you alluded to it. Corner 1, that big open corner,
wide open.
It looks just so inviting to try to go up top and make something work. It's like, it's just baiting you.
Oh yeah.
Or baiting somebody to go up there and not only try it, but get bit by it. But to you guys' point though, when these guys can run too wide and the tracks, obviously you got 2 lanes there. Obviously you just love that in little short track racing and guys keeping it clean and putting on a good show. So and not wrecking each other. So that's always good.
John Reynolds Jr. wraps up his championship year in the Big 8 as well with that race. 3rd championship in his career. No, again, just another great night of racing. The cold definitely had a factor into it. It maybe hurt a little bit. It was maybe a little too cold, but it ended up being great nonetheless. And obviously when it comes down to it, Sunday is the main event, the Oktoberfest 200. I mean, fellas, there's a lot going on there between, Majeski taking the ultimate challenge, starting in the back for an extra 10K. You had Brian Sierkeski and Ty Fredrickson starting on the front row of that one. I mean, man, Sierkeski had a really good car. He ran up front it was that first stint up until that first caution. He had a good car and he could have been there to contend there at the end.
And he, at one point, I think he was 3 seconds out on the field,
long ways out.
You talk about a dude that's fighting for Rookie of the Year in that series. The dude, had an absolute rocket until he got in traffic. Like
Yeah. I
he
had a
was, yeah,
I
that
had a
was wild.
hunch he was going to run good there just because of what he did down at Hawkeye Downs. It's kind of a similar track. It's a flat, wide corner track. He ran really good there. I kind of had a hunch he was going to run good here, and he proved to do that. But no, obviously everybody was keeping an eye on Ty with him running up through the field. Had some, had the strategy play his way as far as some of the cautions that laid out, got him bunched back up, everybody pitting at the same time, so he's not losing any track position there. Obviously he gets up to the front, and then, for lack of a better term, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
For those that didn't see the replay, Majeski and Zero going real at it. First, I want to mention Danny Fredrickson gave Majeski a run for his money running by him. He made sure he made Majeski's life a living hell trying to get by him.
Oh yeah. And they said, was it in the Knights race that those two Majeski moved him?
Yeah.
And they said on Friday night he was not happy. Thursday, Friday night, whichever. I think it was Friday night. He was not happy with him. So you had to know he was maybe potentially driving through the mirror a little bit to make him burn his stuff up to get by him.
Absolutely.
Um, but my golly, and they raced hard. I mean, a bump here, a bump there, but they didn't tear stuff up. It was short track. We're gonna go at it.
Yep. I'm gonna make your life hell getting by me type of thing. But no, obviously I keep an eye on Majeski. He was running through the front. Dalton Zier gets a few laps out front, hood flapping and the wind.
Yeah, dude. Thing was all curled up on the front corner.
It's lucky that was a sheet metal hood because that would have broken off if it was fiberglass.
Yeah.
But no, so Majeski gets by on a restart during three wide move going into one on the restart, comes out in the lead, but Zier gets up a little high, looks to do the undercut. Majeski comes up, they hit, and like I said, all hell breaks loose. Majeski gets spun, hit by Fredrickson. Zier's in the wall, gets piled in by Weinkoff. You had three heavy favorites gone, just like that.
Yeah.
So I guess I obviously saw that and caught some of the highlights of that race. That move Zier made, I guess I want to get some thoughts on that. Was that just a misjudgment? Did he misjudge his timing or what his run coming into the corner? Did he misjudge his entry and punt him too hard? Did he really try to punt him and ended up taking out more than what he wanted? I guess what were your guys' thoughts? Obviously, I listened to his interview and he obviously took the side of it of just a good hard racing deal, and he missed it and he hates that for everybody. But I guess what were your guys' thoughts or perspective on that? Because obviously that, like you guys said, took out some hammers right in the front of the field, and how Gabe Sommers got through there and watching his in-car camera is beyond me. But
ultimate lap photo of Gabe Sommers racing. If you want to see those in-car cameras, first off, ultimate lap photo, great footage, highly, some of the best that you see out there.
10 out of 10, absolutely.
Yep. I don't know. At least from the interview that I saw, he wanted to rattle his cage, but he didn't want to spin him type of situations. I think he definitely hit him too hard. I mean, like I said, I could see Zier got up high. It almost looked like he kind of missed turn 3 and was kind of coming back down. Majeski was starting to go up. So it was almost like they were going to do a crisscross type of thing. And it's just, he came in a little too hot and spun him from there or bumped him from there.
And obviously it took out, it would be your pick, Grant Van Grol and Ty Majeski, who probably had the car of the field.
Oh, absolutely.
But at the end of the day, the guy that I hate that the most for is Weinkoff, who runs a one-off. He's got that absolutely beautiful looking race car. I love the color, the
multicolor, changes as it hits the sun.
And the dude ran well all day. That's the part that I hate for him is he did such a good job all day, and they worked all weekend to get that car where they needed it to be, and he just unfortunately gets caught in somebody else's melee. So
Yeah. The one Van der Geest car that was actually running halfway decent.
yeah, but no, I mean, and for me, my pick and Danny Fredrickson was there the whole weekend. He was there. He just got caught, and it took the door off of the car, and it just he finished the race and he got back on track, but it just and when you lose the door, especially on a 5/8 mile track like lacrosse, just the aero just is not the same anymore. So
No.
probably a few other bent parts, especially in that right front or the right rear, that just are not going to be the same, unfortunately.
No.
But you hate to see it. And Zier said he meant to give him a little bump, and I just don't think he meant to give him that collateral damage that collected a few other race cars in the making. But
he even said too that in his, at least on his on track interview over the PA, if he could do it over again, if it was just him that was wrecked, he would rather wreck himself than take the other guys out.
Yeah.
So he owned up to it. With that, it opened up an opportunity though for a couple guys. Johnny Sauter, who was leading there for a little bit before Zier and Majeski took over. I thought he was going to have some luck, and I even mentioned too, in our group chat during the race that if he didn't have any mechanical gremlins, he was going to have a good car to contend there. And getting ready for that restart after that wreck, he must have just spun her too hard when he was trying to clean the tires off, and brakes an axle coming past the one to go.
Again, car coming off of getting a clip from Pathfinder. He's got a rocket all weekend. And why is it that Johnny Sauter always manages to pan hard ball or trailing arm or axle that he just, when he's cleaning them up, it's just like
always breaks something.
Oh, dude, this is the same way in Madison for the Stars race.
Yeah. It was the same scenario.
Same
exact scenario.
Cleaning them up. It's like, is he being too aggressive cleaning them up, or is he buying the cheap stuff to put that thing together, man? I don't know.
He's still in the trucks. He thinks he can abuse them things.
I don't know, man.
Talk about a tough year. Then you go back to WIR.
Yeah. Destroys that car at WIR.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody who puts a ton of work in on his cars and
shows up fast.
Yes. Shows up bad fast.
Yeah. And late. He showed up late on Friday. He missed half a practice.
No one expected him to show up. He's got that thing turned up.
Yeah. Oh, hey, here's Sauter. Here's Johnny.
Not only does he show up, but then he shows up late to the party and then he runs off.
And I'm not surprised. That's what he does. He shows up late.
He loves that lifestyle. He just rolls in and says, "Here I am, folks. I'm ready to race."
Yep. So God, those mechanical gremlins get him again. Opens up a door for again 3 guys: Gabe Sommers, Brian Sierkeski, Ty Fredrickson. Also, Ty Fredrickson. Holy man, what a for a big race like this, what a debut that he had. Fun fact, he blew the motor in the super late model, so they had to switch back to the pro late model.
Yep. I was gonna say, did you know that he blew it up on Friday night? That well, he didn't. It blew up, but he managed to
So I got a question for you guys on him. I got a question for you guys on him. So I saw an interview on, I don't know if it was Thursday night or Friday night, what adjustments do you have to make or what learning curve are you going to experience? And he's like, well, obviously I got my dad. He gives me the setup. He talks about, what I should be doing or not. But then he goes, I don't know, don't notice much difference from my crate car.
Ignorance might be a good thing for that.
And it made me think, does this 14-year-old, does he just not get rattled because he doesn't understand the stage that he's on? Or
that he takes over, I guess,
because I was just like, for a 14-year-old showing up to a huge race like this, you got to think it's like, hey, like, I'm running with the big boys. Like, it's time to put the big boy shorts on and whatever, running a super late instead of the crate. But I was like thinking, I'm like, after I listened to that interview, is he just like, and maybe he's just that even keeled and just like goes with the flow. But I'm like, is this 14-year-old just not realize the stage that he's on?
He's just
It's not rattled.
he's like his old man. Nothing rattles him. He takes after his, like, he's confident. He knows what he's got. He knows how to run a car, all the way down to the fucking smug look on his face that him and his old man got. I mean,
it goes back to the video. He's doing the Randall interviews, and he's
my
doing the interviews.
God.
He's interviewing a spotter, and he looks over and goes, "Hey, come here, big guy." And he's talking to Danny. Comes over. What? He goes, "I can't really complain about much because this guy driving the other car keeps taking my crew guys." I'm like, God damn it. It's like, but to your point, Cam, I think you make a good point that he maybe just, he's young enough in his racing career that he doesn't notice or feel the change, that he's working on driving so much on his driving style that maybe those changes in whether it be the crate car or his super or the changes they're making, that he just doesn't, it doesn't phase him like other drivers maybe expect a change to do something different.
Yeah. I am going to be really intrigued to do to see his development over the years, and what he can do.
I say we talk again when he turns 18.
Yeah.
Depending on what alliance he runs with and where he goes, and knowing that Dan Fredrickson's got a little deal with Toyota going on, that it'll be interesting to see where he ends up. The kid's 14 years. The dude doesn't have a driver's license. Think about that for a minute.
And he
the
finished.
Dude doesn't have a driver's license.
Yeah, and he comes in. He gets in the podium in the Oktoberfest 200.
Yeah.
Probably one of the more stout fields you're gonna have in the Midwest.
And yeah, we smashed up a few cars, but the dude's got to make it through that too.
And he was running top 6, top 7 that entire race.
Yep.
He never fell off.
Yep.
So, no, I had mentioned too, it opened up an opportunity for a couple guys that put Sommers up on the front. Sierkeski was right there, but I think when it came down to it, it was Sommers' race to lose, and he ends up winning that one, which, good for him. He had a good year. It wrapped up his championship year in the Midwest Tour. He's been there for a lot of big races. He finally kind of gets that one of those crown jewel races.
Nice, Roll. We just got a 10.
Cool.
Also, 10th place gets the chance for the bonus.
In high limit. Sorry.
Yep.
No, you're talking about Sommers, and him wrapping up the championship and getting that win. I guess can't help but be happy for him.
Yeah.
Somebody who shows up to a lot of races around here.
Yes.
Is always got a good car. And he had kind of alluded to it, gremlins always bite him too, it feels like. Or something in a race, always, the cards are always stacked against him, it feels like. And he kind of alluded to that in his post-race interview. It was like, hey, like, we've had a good year and a solid year, but for once, things went his way. And as much as we want to sit and talk about, the skill and talent required to get behind the wheel, is obviously necessary, but we'd be lying if we said that there wasn't a little bit of luck involved in some of this.
Oh, absolutely.
So, obviously a big win for him on this scene, and can't help but be a fan, and especially that quick trip paint scheme that he rolled out. Jeez.
Just a slick looking car.
Red race cars, baby.
That was just like if you would have smashed that up, like, man, girl, I would have requested you to go down there and see if you could buy some shit. And +2 quick trip, like, golly, the amount of money I've given them in my life. Like, that was.
You haven't seen it yet.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah. The chrome numbers on the side too.
Oh.
Yeah, just a simple, clean, Quick Trip Paint
This is
Scheme.
probably even a better one right here.
Oh yeah. We made a comment at the track of like, we see a lot of like just black, plain white race cars out there. Seeing just a little bit of that different color, that red with the white out there. I mean, it's a slick looking race car. So
Yeah.
no, overall, great race, great weekend. Well, always one of my favorite weekends to go to. Always highly recommended if you can get over there. You get a ton of camping. There's all kinds of parties that go on during the weekend. Just a hell of a time overall.
Any other final thoughts on the old Oktoberfest 200 or those 4 nights of racing?
Just
Jack
a
Bad,
stout field.
tire changer.
Everybody's there. If you're there, if there's a race going on, or if you raced in Wisconsin, you're there that weekend to race. That's just, it's a great time. Always like it.
That's on my list for next year.
Yeah.
Another
And
track
hey,
that
yeah.
I haven't been to since I was real little. So that's another one that I want to get back to now, to be at, and just obviously at the stout field you have there. But I think with that now, I think that's a pretty cool deal to have that, get there and see that type of field is now a place where you can remember what's going on. So yeah, for sure.
And that was, to your point, to another point too. Good car count too.
Yeah.
And obviously it's a big race, and a lot of guys from the Midwest kind of have that on their schedule, but you never know. And for short track racing, the car count was what we expected, if not maybe a little bit higher. So
Had 28 cars, and you're missing Kraus, you're missing Lepak, Refner, and Jonathan Island, who had a wreck during practice as well. So there's 4 cars. That's 32 cars right there.
yeah. So obviously when you're north of 30 cars for a late model show, that's awesome to see for short track. So
absolutely.
definitely something that obviously was out at a Badger game this weekend, but something that we should get the pit crew to, and see if we could, what kind of content the Three Stones could muster up at a track. So
Don't worry, we're on it.
Oh yeah.
And the other thing I like too, with that 4 nights, it's almost like a Cedar Lake show. Like you got 4 nights of racing where it's like guys are
chance to dial it in.
That really makes, on Sunday when the 200 comes around, they got it dialed in. They've had a couple nights of racing to try the things they want to try. And, that's kind of a conversation of, hey, some guys on a Thursday and Friday night or Saturday night are going to, throw something at the car. And other guys are, hey, it worked last night, I'm not changing a thing. So that's just a good show, and it puts on a good show for obviously everybody. And it's good to see track count. So, and as we always do, if you got a short track around you, just find a way to get there. And obviously we're blessed in Wisconsin with a lot of them. So the pit crew's got to do a better job. At least I myself for sure do. The tire changer's always there. So
I've gone damn near every weekend.
Yeah, he's boots on the ground every week. So obviously good to have him on the crew. And he always gives us good insight, and he's got the headset on. And yeah, me and Kellen, do you ever get sick of me and Kellen constantly messaging you about updates or what you're hearing on the radio?
Oh no, because the radio is fantastic. Actually, so funny. I was actually going to bring that up. I was listening. I was hopping out between a ton of guys. So I was listening to Fredrickson, both of them really during the qualifying races on Saturday for the ASM Midwest Tour. And Fredrickson, Danny's running in the back, just saving his tires. He's on the same channel as Ty. Literally, it's just like, he's talking to Ty. How's the car feel and whatnot? in the race. I'm like, come on, man, you got your own car to worry about here. It's just, it was just funny to listen to.
That's the radio thing. Now when I go to asphalt tracks, the radio thing, and she's probably going to see this tomorrow, but that's going to be potentially a Christmas present request from people around me to get a radio and a headset when we get there. We're gonna do some listening instead of having to do a splitter with
a duel, yeah.
Get your own headset and just listen. So
absolutely, no, it's awesome.
Where are we at for high limits here, fellas?
We're rolling onto the track right now.
Perfect.
So yeah, obviously third segment we kind of alluded to. We're going to try something a little bit new. Obviously when we get some of the crew here together, the pit crew together, something we will be doing in the future.
I'll be right back. Go ahead.
Of course. Jackman's loose. But yeah, something we've alluded to and talked about, and obviously we're working on trying to figure out, but maybe going live for a couple of these races or doing a live show. But we thought what better to do, not necessarily a live, but kind of just a watch along, as obviously the high limit series, this is the final race and we're going to be crowning a champion tonight. So this next segment, we're going to talk high limit, and they are rolling on the track here, getting lined up for the A main 40 laps at is it Lernerville or Lincoln Park Speedway? Lernerville was Dale Jr.
Correct. One thing I want to point out here real quick, Rico Abreu starting on the pole, Kyle Larson starting 7th on the field. Sorry, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7th on the field right now. So he's right on that cusp as far as, championship standings go. Loses a couple spots. Abreu gets the win. We could be talking about Abreu as champion here.
So, and here's why this is a big deal. So coming into the night, I believe Rico was 15 points back, and I pulled up the stats here. So this is what needs to happen for Kyle Larson to clinch the high limit series championship. If Abreu wins the race, Larson needs to finish 6th or better. If Abreu finishes 2nd, 8th or better, 3rd, 11th or better, 4th, 13th or better. So obviously, as Rico slides, Larson gets a little bit more wiggle room.
Yep.
Rico starting on the front row. He wins the championship. If he wins and Larson finishes 7th or worse.
So he's already, as we start,
Larson is starting 7th. If Rico finishes 2nd, Larson needs to finish 9th or worse. Rico finishes 3rd, Larson 12th or worse. So obviously that's a big headline that we got going on, which is kind of why we're going to do just a little bit of a watch along here and talk some shop. But
we're pushing off. So,
well, and the crazy part
got the push cars on the track. The engines are fired. Larson is fired early. Here he goes. But
make sure your videos are live, fellas. Let's don't want to be spoiling it for each other here.
Yep, we're hot.
Sorry.
But here's again, and this is going to be one of our off-season topics of, you want to talk about asphalt versus dirt. Now, the only people talking to these drivers in these cars is race control. So these guys do not know. I mean, you have an idea. Obviously, these guys have been told before they push off, especially between Rico and Kyle Larson, that where these guys are rolling off. So they don't have somebody in their ear like the asphalt guys doing, hey, we need one more car. Hey, you're good where you are. Like, they don't have that. So this is going to be an interesting part to this dirt side, because they just don't have that guy in their ear to tell them from a point standing where they're at.
Yep.
These boys, they smash the loud pedal and go to the front. That's all they know. So, yeah, obviously we've got a little bit of a storyline here. But this track, I don't know if you guys watched any bit of qualifying there or.
Turn 2 was eating them up.
Who is going to be the one to make a mistake?
Oh boy.
Is Rico or Kyle going to make a mistake? Because that that cushion was eating people in qualifying there. Guys were missing it, and it kills
Here's one for you.
the speed and the momentum.
Larson had a big miss last week. Is it him again? The sprint car stud, is it him that maybe misses it a little bit and he's got to wheel it to keep it on all fours?
So I do want to point out some other things too. Obviously, there are other drivers in this race as well. You know, CJ Larry, Parker Price Miller, Michael Colfoyd, Buddy Colfoyd, he's starting 5th. Tyler Courtney, he's starting 10th. He's in line for that big bonus. Justin Sanders is in there. I'm telling you, it's, you know, I know it's all about Larson and Abreu, but you got some other guys that can really mix it up as well and really make it havoc for a couple for them too.
Hey, and while we're talking, since we're on just talking off the cuff dirt racing, did you guys see Chili Bowl today?
No.
20K payday. Upped it.
Really?
Yep.
Hey, there we go.
So Larson said he wasn't going to run Chili Bowl, but
I'd have to reconsider. I think Abreu is for sure not running because I think he's running some sprint car races down in Australia, if I remember correctly.
And so that was one point I was going to make. Second point is, well, we can touch on a little bit later, but as I'm watching this is like the first thing. How frustrating does it have to be in any series where you're tuning on a car, getting ready for the show, and you go out for the show and the car doesn't fire?
No.
I don't know who this is at 21H right now, but
actually it might be a receiver issue. He might not be able to hear the tower.
Oh.
So they might be switching that out.
Yeah, that's true. They always give guys a check and a freebie on that whole deal to get them right. Side note, Cam, I don't know if you made the feature or not, but you know who made a crack at it tonight? Not in the 70, but in the 93. The big wheel, Scotty Thiel. Oh, Wisconsin guy.
Sheboygan?
Yep, giving her a crack at it. He's resurfaced after a little hiatus of separating from the 70 team. So why he got the nickname the big wheel, not really sure, but Wisconsin guy got the big wheel, Scotty Thiel. I don't know if he made the feature or not, but it was just good. As Wisconsin guys, it's good to see a Wisconsin driver back on a big scene like that, especially.
He did make the feature starting P14.
Wow, hell yeah. Let's go.
97, by the way, running 97.
97. Okay, I knew it was 90. It was black and orange car. Yep.
And oh boy, here we go. The best part of the race, 4 wide. Hey, are we all in sync?
Yep.
Coming
out of 2.
Right in the middle of turn 3.
Yep. Well, I'm just entering turn 3 now.
Yo, I got it.
Yep. White line now. Yep.
Come on. Can't be having
white line now. So you're a bit ahead, Kellen.
Oh, she just paused for a second there. Now we're into him.
Well, I just refreshed, so I got an ad right now. But Kel, to your point on the Scotty Field, we kind of alluded to it on, I think, a previous episode. If not, we're going to get into it now. But the sprint cars world this year in drivers is just utterly insane. The amount of
goes back to that meme that I had last week.
Is that what we brought it up?
That's it. Had to have been, yeah.
Yeah, that was what it was.
The amount of driver changes and mutually parting ways.
Yeah. Insanity.
All right, fellas, here we go. Pace car is off.
Game on, folks.
When is you guys' green flag dropping?
Green.
Oh yeah, we're green.
I'm going to pull up race monitor here too, just to make sure I can keep track.
Yeah, that's a good call. So bear with us here as we do this. This is something new that we've been talking about doing. We just haven't done it. But with a series like this, I mean, how can we not want to try to do something like this, especially on a night like tonight with the high limit?
So
And
again,
so-
if you're watching this, give us some feedback on this as well.
Absolutely.
Madman Kerry Madsen, he's been solid all
Yep.
year too.
Yeah. Wow,
Is
Rico.
it just me, or is it just like it seems like it's bogging down? Like the guys just aren't able to get like they want, get up and at it like they want to.
Well, to your point, I would agree. I think it does in the middle of the corner and then it grabs off because you can see some
Yeah.
of these guys are picking up the front tires even a little bit. We got a little bit of a two wheel action here a little bit. But looking at the race monitor, I mean, we're obviously we got 32 to go yet, as race monitor tells me, but Rico Abreu's got a 12-1 for the fast lap, like 12-3, 12-5, 12-4-9, 12-5-6. That's what being out front does for you, especially at
Yeah.
a race like this. So Larson currently runs 7th.
Yeah, so race monitor's a little ahead as far as the broadcast goes, which rightly so. I think it should be.
Here we go. Larson hasn't moved, and he's got to finish.
He's got to finish sixth.
He's got to finish sixth to win.
No.
And hey, here we go again. We're in lap traffic. 8 laps into it. Rico's coming into lap traffic.
So that goes back to my point though of a couple, was it last week or 2 weeks ago when we talked about this?
Oh,
With high limits and the tracks that they pick, it just feels like they're picking these bull rings where you're just, oh my God, you're in
Yeah.
lap traffic. We're not even 10 laps in, we're in lap traffic. So I just feel like and I love it. I don't get me wrong, I absolutely love what high limit has done with this, but it keeps it interesting to say the
yeah, for
least.
sure. Scotty Thiel running 16th.
Oh,
Larson
Madman
up
Kerry
to
Madsen.
6th. Oh,
Madman.
yellows out.
Oh, Buddy
Buddy
Kofoid.
Kofoid. Tires are up.
It's typically not a good sign.
No.
I'd rather see a car pull off with tires down than tires
Yeah,
up.
yeah,
because
tires are up. So I
if
wonder.
tires are up. That means we got bigger issues.
That's usually power plant type of issues.
Yeah, I'm not mechanically inclined enough to really be diagnosed just by looking at the stream here or even what they're looking at. They're definitely looking at the power plant.
Well, come on, tire changer out of anybody. You're supposed to be the most technically sound.
Oh yeah, they got the flashlights under the hood. They're checking it out.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's Buddy Kofoid too, and he's somebody on the dirt scene too that he's been playing musical chairs finding
yeah.
a ride too.
Yeah.
But he's good in them too. He's good in whatever chair he hops in.
Speak of magical. Well, to the same sense, speak of magical chairs, we got the concrete kid back in the concrete car in the 39M of Macri this weekend.
Yeah, I saw that.
Was he looking to get some intel from some other teams?
Look,
I
I threw that out to Kellen. I don't know that it would ever be the case.
no,
Him and his family
not leaving
car.
your family team. Yeah.
Yeah, it was his family car, and he said, "Hey, earlier this year again. Ironically, we got another mutually parting ways for the time being." And he goes and runs the 71 car for the majority of the year. And then now he gets brought back. And it's like I said to Kellen, like, I would not assume that he would ever do this or whatever, but it's like, could you imagine like saying you're going to mutually part and say, hey, go run a car for a different team and see what intel you can get, setups, track your race prep, stuff like that. It's like, I hope that's never the case, but that was a thought that popped into my mind.
Hey, everybody's playing some kind of shenanigans.
Yeah, it's all a game of cards. You got your poker
It's who can get away with it better.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see who that 21H is, who I said it must have been
Brady Bacon.
another solid dirt driver.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say that's somebody that when he wasn't rolling with the field, whatever issue he had, all of a sudden it's like, oh well, here he is running up front. But
That baby came to life.
Tyler
So
Courtney coming up too, started P10 up to P4.
I'm getting scared for Rico, to be honest, running that cushion.
that 2 car is inside of him, gonna give him a run for his money on the bottom. I don't know. And again, and even within the dirt world, this is a little bit different than the super late models because these guys maybe don't have stick guys like certain super late model series
Yeah.
where you got the guy on the fence giving you you're this far apart where
Yep.
you don't have that. So these guys
Oop.
are
Bacon
literally
goes
all
by
here.
Larson to
Brady
P6.
Bacon.
Well,
Well, it's like Chili Bowl. Going back to that, they don't have the spotters over there as well. I remember Larson and Abreu talking about using the monitor, the big screen that they got there as their spotter, just because it's going by. They had to move where the monitor was at, just because of that.
They were getting rid of those big screens
Yeah.
because they're using them. And good on them for figuring out a way to give yourself an advantage.
Oh, absolutely.
My
Even
gosh.
if it's for a race or for a weekend, hell, why not?
Oh,
You guys see Rico there?
Yeah, hop the curb a little or the berm a little bit. Yeah, there's Courtney.
He's on a roll.
There's Larson up to P5.
yeah. I have a feeling Larson's going to get it done.
Well, here's the thing: if he doesn't, though, if Brady Bacon gets there and throws him, he's got Elias and
Christ,
right on.
Oh, oh,
my Courtney's not afraid of anybody.
I think Larson's got to realize he doesn't have to win this championship. He just needs to finish, basically.
No, he can finish where he's at and he can win the whole deal.
Yeah.
Also, side note, have you guys seen the ring for this deal?
Oh man.
That thing
there
is
goes
like
Bacon.
Oh man. Wow.
Yeah, that bunches him back up again.
Kyle Larson has got to be thrilled. Did anybody see that lap car that was just taking away the line for him?
Yeah.
Wowza.
And it took out one of the guys that'd be fighting for a position too.
Yep.
Wow. This is why I'm starting to love. I mean, I love the sprint cars from the start, but these guys
he got bit by the curb.
And these guys, everybody
is all by himself. Ouch. I mean, that cushion is massive. All 4 are up yet. I would think he'd hop back in.
Yeah, just needs the push.
Yeah, he's got to get the push. Well, so speaking of the push, Kyle Larson talking a little bit early in the year about how sprint cars he thinks should have starters. I'll stir that conversation up a little bit with you.
Hey, I mean, it's all about the weight when it comes down to it. So
true.
Choose cone.
But at the end of the day,
Larson's rolling off 6th here.
Well, so I think there's 2 things. One, it's the weight that goes with it. But 2, I mean, those aren't very big cars to start off with. Is there even room to put a starter on there?
Come on now.
So what do we got here? 14 to go.
Again, I'm not mechanically inclined enough for the sprint cars, so
I'm also not an engineer, but you got to tell me that we can't fit a starter this big around in there somewhere in a battery.
Hell, if the drivers had a choice, they strip the entire roll cage just to make it lighter.
True. You're not wrong there.
I think we're coming to 14 to go here. Rico's rolling off P1. Larson is up to P5.
Yeah.
So Larson's got to go back 2 spots yet. Rico's got to win this for Rico to win this.
Yeah, that's the thing. Rico's got to win this first. He's getting some heavy competition.
Oh boy.
Whoa!
Oh my.
Wow.
Oh, Larson just saw his life, well, and his championship flash before his eyes.
But he also just saw that trophy get a lot closer by missing that.
Oh, the two who was so fast.
Yeah.
Oh man. Luckily, nobody's on their lid, and you
I
hate to
think
see
he just
that.
lost it and then everybody piled in.
You got the 11, the 39, the 2, and the 28. I mean, you don't want anybody to go on their lid. Thank God they didn't. But
Hey, quick note on this. When these wrecks happen, if you guys have never seen these sprint car crews be able to change stuff under a caution,
Oh,
change a wing,
oh my
change a
God.
tire, if you've never seen the efficiency and everybody knowing their role of what, like us, that car comes in, Kellen, get the jack, Van Grohl's on the tire.
yep.
Like these crews
That's
are
yeah.
incredibly efficient and quick when
Oh,
something
that
happens.
hub on the 11's a little bent. You could see it kind of wobble.
But
And
this is where I wish that these guys could talk to their crew, because like somebody that's sitting there in the wreck, like Macri, I don't know if his front wing is damaged or not, but it would be awesome if these guys, because these guys, the crew has no idea what they're fixing when the car
Yep.
rolls up. Hey, we got to diagnose and fix it like this.
Yep.
And Macri's done. I don't know if he's done, but he's going to the hot sauce pit. But that would be cool if these guys could talk to their crew and be like, hey,
I
front
need
wing's
this,
gone.
this, and this.
Yeah, front
Yep.
wing's gone. They're pushing me back. Right rear, something's not right in the right rear. Somebody look at that. Like, it would be cool because these guys are already incredibly efficient. But I think would be cool if these guys, to the radio point of it.
true. And to your point of that, a lot of these teams, and I don't think if you don't watch, especially short track racing enough, that you know that a lot of these crew guys that are helping these guys out are guys from other crews.
Yep.
And that is such a cool part of the short track scene is where a guy comes off the track and he's got issues. I mean, we saw it with the world.
Oh, we're hitting cars and pits here.
Oh, what the hell? My geez, guys. But at the end of the day, like to that point, like you got Ricky Thornton Jr., who's probably your best super late model driver of the year. He's literally got his hands in there and he's changing tires and pulling fenders for other guys to just get them back on the track, because that's just the community of this short track scene, which is it's beyond awesome to see. And that's so cool to see that Ricky could change the tire of a car that could beat him some night. Like that's just such an awesome thing to see. So a lot of these cars that are wrecked, they're going to come off the track, but they're going to have guys that are not their own crew helping them out changing stuff, but they know it's like everybody knows exactly what's going on and they know exactly what to do. And it's just like you grab on and it's game on to get that car back on the track.
Well, look at this past weekend too. Sommers was willing to offer probably his car to Crosse for the weekend after Thursday night. He was going to offer the car. Obviously, other circumstances changed that, but he was willing to offer that car to him just to have him there.
Absolutely.
We're talking about it, and literally right there, the 11 car's got a new right rear, new top wing, new front wing, and here comes a four-wheeler.
Pushed off.
Yep, pushed them off. Absolutely. That is just such a cool thing to see, and you can't appreciate that enough with, especially in this world where the racing world, it's so expensive to be at these tracks that even guys who it's like, you know what, you might beat me, but at the end of the day, I'll change your tire, I'll put a wing on, and they'll do it just in the spirit of short track racing, and that's on the asphalt side as well too. You see that on both sides, so that's so cool to see. All right, well, that guy's pushing off. They got him doubled up again, so wow. Does that 11 still have issues?
I didn't know if it was the dirt on the tire or what.
No, I noticed when he was getting pushed off that the hub was wobbling a little bit. So there's definitely some some issues there.
I'm thinking that
He-
rear
he-
end is probably bent.
Yeah, because he got drilled pretty hard. Or no, sorry, he drilled that to Henry pretty hard when he was coming in.
Here comes a concrete kid. His front wing's still smashed a little bit.
I saw this picture the other day. I forget who. Oh, it was Larson. Larson had a hole in his wing. So instead of changing it out, they just real quick, it's like, hey, how could we fix this? Grabbed one of the crew guys' clipboards, duct taped the sucker in there, and they ran the race. They had white duct tape, so you never noticed it.
That's awesome.
Yep. Who asked about issues on the 11? Back in the
Yeah, just that right rear's just got that.
Yeah.
I think that rear end
Yep, still is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're pushing it back. They're done.
yeah.
He brought it
Well-
up there and he smashed the gas. He smashed the gas down the straight, I think, to give it a little feel. And he probably smashed it and said, yeah, something still ain't right back there. But sucks for Elias, and he's had a solid year.
Yeah, he's shown up at a lot of big races for sure. Now, again, a little bit of a difference here with the dirt and the asphalt. Do we think with these cool down laps here that any of these right rears have maybe kind of sealed over a little bit? And Cam, you and I can kind of talk on this a little bit with the hunt the front thing here. They've talked about these tires getting hot when they cool off, they seal over and then they lose grip. Is this a potential where we got guys that are beating on their right rears and they maybe are going to lose a little bit of grip with some of these laps here under caution?
I would say no, because you can see these guys that are ripping the cushion here under some of these laps. I think doing the best job not to let that happen. But I mean, easily could be happening. I'm just looking at Tyler Courtney. Holy smokes.
Dude showed up.
Again, started 10th, and if that dice roll was what I remember, it's whatever started position that gets rolled is the one that gets the bonus, and he was in 10th position. So,
and that's wild that
who's running P3?
Madsen.
Are we going to
Oh, he's running P3.
restart?
Sorry.
Are we going single file? Oh,
Yeah, we are.
damn it. Double them up.
They might have a one cone roll.
Oh, Rico's gone with the wind.
Is that one or was that two?
Two.
There.
I think there's two. Here come. Oh, wow. Jeez. These guys up front, they really aren't playing all that nice for. Wow.
Oofed.
Well, for real. Oh,
Tapped him a bit.
yeah.
Bye Larson.
Yeah, there's the
One
57.
mistake.
Yeah,
And that's the issue with these races. One mistake and there's somebody waiting to.
Oh, absolutely.
The 7 and the 55 they decided that they were going to duke it out instead of playing nice with each other. The
So we're
50
coming to 10 to go. Rico's P1, Kyle Larson P2, Madman, Kerry Madsen, Tyler Courtney, Justin Peck is your top 5.
Yeah.
Larson's gaining a little bit on Abreu.
Yeah.
Larson's ripping that top, but I think Abreu just found that out. He's starting to rip the top now. No, he went middle there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Abreu's running the top in 1 and 2, and the low to middle and 3 and 4, probably more low. Larson's sticking to the top all the way around. He gets the
And here he
momentum there
is.
in 4.
Yeah.
Rico, do not. Thank you.
Yeah, he figured that out. He's got to run the top. He's
Yeah.
gonna keep it.
And that's probably not who Rico
He's
was.
probably, I mean,
Whoa!
he's trying not to get bit by the
Holy,
curb, but oh, there goes Larson.
oh, dude almost left the property.
Oh, and Matson almost came down on Courtney.
I guess at this point, really, I don't know. It doesn't necessarily matter if we re-rack them because we know we're going single file.
Yeah. Now getting into lap traffic now here too.
Oh, oh my God. The 55 almost took out
There
the
they come for the
57.
lead.
Yeah. Well, Larson's back to the bottom. I don't know. You
Dude,
know,
Madsen and Courtney are just going at it.
duking it out.
2 to go. Lap car is getting in the way. Courtney's catching up to Larson. Oh, what a run by Abreu.
And here's, they get in lap traffic, 1 to go. That really shows who's got the best car. Because
Yeah.
when these guys get in lap traffic, you car's got to go where nobody is.
There it is. Abreu wins it. Courtney steals second from Larson, but Larson comes in third.
Yeah.
So Kyle Larson will crown him the High Limit Sprint Car Series Championship.
The inaugural.
Obviously, we mentioned he had to finish 7th or worse. Obviously, a heck of a run from Rico there, and his good year or great year continues. So, heck of a run there from Rico. Still going to cash in a nice little payday. Tyler Courtney, 10th to 2nd. Kyle Larson, P3. Madman, Kerry Madsen, P4. And they just ripped off the top 10 from the screen.
Do we not have
Where's Big Wheel?
what?
Trying to check in and see where Big Wheel was.
Oh. Do we
Big
have
Wheel, Scotty
we do
Theo.
not have high limits in our championship here.
P10. P10.
Did he?
Yeah, P10, baby.
Hey, top 10.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously that was a new little segment we wanted to try out. Obviously, we think in the future, when we get going here and up to speed, we're going to be doing some live, maybe even going live. But we want to just kind of do a little session here, watching along as a big time race when we're recording. So, yeah, let us know your thoughts, what you thought if you watched the race, or give us some thoughts on the watch along if we got stones for brains or whatever you want. So yeah, let us know your thoughts. We tried something new here. I liked it. I thought it was fun to watch. Obviously, a storyline like that. Obviously, we got some work to do, maybe a little bit more prep or whatever, but that's who we are. We fire from the cuff. This is who we are. So yeah, I don't know. That was fun. I liked it. And let us know your thoughts. Yeah, what were your guys' thoughts? Quick hits. We've coming up on 2 hours again.
Yeah. No, a good race. Again, it's you saw some of the lap cars kind of get involved, but you saw the guys running the different lines on there too. You had the one wreck that really shook up the field there, and ultimately you had the two best guys on the season finish 1-2.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you got your top 2 guys finish 1-2, but I do think I'd like to see them go like a lot of our short tracks up here do. I'd like to see them go double file coming late in those restarts. Just it stacks up the field a little bit more where your guy on the pin gets an advantage, and you think they deserve or get an advantage being the fast car, but I do have to say I would like to see a double file on that, and maybe the next race will change my opinion or my mind on that. But I think that that part would make it way more interesting.
Yeah, and my final thoughts on that. Great race, like you said, been the two best cars most of the year, and there they are again, duking it out with each other. So good racing. And then the watch along here, us just chatting it up. No prep, firing from the hip. thought it was fun.
Live feedback for you. If you didn't get to catch it, you got it all right here on the podcast.
Yep.
Yeah. So obviously we're always open to feedback. Would love to hear what your thoughts are. And obviously going live in the future is obviously something that we're going to do. So
That's a slick trophy. Wow.
yeah. So let us know your thoughts. And as we kind of get ready to wrap this up, as we always do, we got 3 race previews in our NASCAR picks. So race preview 1, we are going to the tire changer. Cam, what do you got for us this weekend?
Well, we were at Oktoberfest last weekend for super late models. You got to stick on the super late model scene. You got to go Winchester. It is the 9th event for the ASA Stars National Tour. They came out with their entry list yesterday, 26 cars on the entry list, I got updated today, 26 cars on the entry list. Obviously you got your regulars in there, Ty Majeski, Austin Nason, Gio Ruggiero, Cole Butcher. You got Chase Berta in there as well, William Sawalich, Albert Francis, Noah Gregson's going to be making a start in this race as well. Obviously, I think it really comes down to it's still the points battle between Majeski and Butcher as far as drivers to keep an eye out on. They're pretty much the only 2 left in the championship battle. I don't remember how their points shape up, but I believe if Majeski wins the race and Butcher has a so-so race, Majeski could wrap up the championship there. So, no, that's kind of what I'm looking at here. Obviously I'm not really too familiar with Winchester, even some favorites that race there on a regular basis. So it's going to be a new experience for me watching that race. But that's what I'm looking out for. Winchester 400 race 9 on the ASA Stars Tour.
ASA Tour has been awesome, produced some good racing so far this year. So
yeah,
love that. I will go next. I am hopping, actually not hopping anywhere. I'm staying on the dirt. But instead of going cars with wings on the top, we're going back to the late model. So assuming this video is going to be out, we got Castro Flow Racing Night in America coming on, today's the 10th, Thursday, October 12th, Tri-County Racetrack. So quarter mile, semi-bank, clay surface track. We're coming down to the end of that kind of series, or similar to high limit type series. And Bobby Pierce in the 32 is got the lead in that series. Hudson O'Neill's back 15. JD is back 81. RTJ's back 85. And Tim McCready's back 87. So that's your top 5 in the Castro Flow Racing Night in America series in the points. And again, as we're getting into championship season here, that is the reason I'm picking that race. This is the last race before they go to Sonoya on Friday, November 10th and Saturday, November 11th. And that series will crown a champion then. So you ain't got anything going on Thursday Night Football. Do as we always do and dual screen it. Throw a little Thursday Night Football up on one screen and throw the late models on the other screen. Obviously another bull ring track, quarter mile, banking, and obviously the top 5 that I just mentioned in the points. Those guys always put on a good show. And Hudson O'Neill's within striking distance, and Jonathan Davenport as well, as if he could pull out a win. So that'll be Thursday night, Tri-County Racetrack. So we're going to be going late model racing. So that is my preview. And then we'll throw it to the Jack Man. What do you got for us?
So I'm going to kind of tie the last little bit here together. We're going to look at the Cup race at Vegas, starting the next round of the playoffs. So kind of an interesting storyline with that. Your last year's winner for that race, Joey Logano. So you got Joey Logano, Ross Chastain, Kyle Busch while he was at Joe Gibbs, Chase Briscoe 4th, Denny Hamlin 5th, Tyler Reddick 6th, Martin Truex 7th. So as we touched on our playoff outlook, we got some playoff guys in picture to looks to be competitive for this race on Sunday. So be interesting to tune into see who can lock themselves into the Final Four for the NASCAR Cup Series.
And lastly, as we always do, we are going to throw in our weekly NASCAR picks. And hate to admit it, but the loser always goes first. And to say I had another tough week in fantasy is an understatement. Dead last, but we were kind of chatting earlier this week. I saved some hammers, so gonna bring out the big dogs here in the final stretch. I got enough uses left in those boys, so hopefully it's time to start making some ground. The kicker is those damn pick'ems at the end. Those are crucial to getting those right. But I'm gonna go first pick here.
That's an easy one.
And I swear, if you take what I'm thinking, I'm gonna.
And I'm gonna go Willie Byron. Actually, no, psych. I'm not going Willie Byron. Because guess what? I've been on the Kyle Larson hype train all year, and he's +3. The guy's got a rocket. He's a contender. And here he goes. He's locking himself in this week, and Kyle Larson's getting the job done. Psych. Book it. Larson is getting the job done this week.
Book it. I'm writing it down. Once I write it down, she's locked in. Larson, you're locked in. You're going to leave the low-hanging fruit. Screw it. I'm going Byron.
All right,
man.
You left me to pick my season champ in MTJ.
Oh, so we're all on our champions.
All right. Hey, I just want to mention too, you forgot to mention that they raced there earlier this year. William Byron won that race.
Yeah, that was back in what, March?
Yeah, Larson was second. Bowman was third in that race.
Yeah.
Seabell, Austin Cindric, Martin Truex Jr. was 7th.
He was there.
I'm telling you, Kellen, I'm coming for you in fantasy.
Forget it.
There's your
I'm ready to get starts the rest of the year. I'm ready.
Here's your picks for the NASCAR Cup Series at Las Vegas. We're all on our champions. So I figure we gotta do a segment next week on the Cup Series. So as we kind of close this thing up, any final thoughts from the crew? Jackman, tire changer, anything you got for everybody?
No, I think it's going to be a really great weekend because actually the three of us will be together, so we can we're going to get together for the weekend and again, not only get some content ideas put together for this channel and continue to get this thing bigger, but at the end of the day, we can heckle each other a little bit on what we got going on here for the racing world. So, it's gonna be good to be just get the crew together at the end of the day.
Chase and Pit Lizard, you're making the trip.
Yep.
Yeah,
we're making the trip. Stones are going to be steaming this weekend. They're going to be rolling out of the ears.
Any other finals for you, Van Grohl?
I got it. Again, it's going to be a great weekend with us getting together. Going to be watching some football, talking some racing, watching some racing. But I do got to mention one thing, though. I've been meaning to talk about the entire episode. That shirt, man. Man, is that thing slick that you got on, the old Dale Earnhardt one?
Me?
Yeah, that thing is slick.
And obviously people don't know, but it's got a lot of sentimental value. This was our grandpa that passed away in June of 2022. We lost him, and he was just a diehard race fan. And that's where a lot of these Dale Earnhardt stuff came from, these cars up here. Just a diehard Dale Earnhardt fan. So obviously serious sentimental value to me, and Kellen's got his collection of cars too. He was somebody that kind of got us kickstarted on racing. So means the world to us that we get to carry on his legacy, and hopefully someday make him proud being as passionate as we are about racing as he was back in his day. So yeah, it's a slick little sweatshirt. I love it. And when we were talking about what are you guys wearing, I was like, shit, I don't turn on the heat in my apartment. Got to save money where I can. So it's chilly. And I was looking for a sweatshirt, and I'm like, there's no better time. So yeah, I love this sweatshirt. Obviously got a lot of meaning behind it. So special in its own right. But with that, boys, what an episode.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Something new, man. We brought a new element to the channel. We got a new series with the Midwest Tour. We got to do a live look and kind of give you guys literally a play-by-play of the sprint car scene with High Limits wrapping up the championship. So that was something new to us as well.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a
And
good
honestly, oh, sorry, cut you off there, tire
No,
changer.
go ahead.
Nope, you got, because I'm on final thoughts.
Oh, fair enough. No, it was a good time. Again, we got to experiment with it. Hopefully we can build off of it here. We got a lot of things in mind of things that we want to do and planned out. We're just kind of waiting for the right time to roll them out, and we're excited to the things that we want to do and release that stuff out to you guys. And again, we're always looking to get feedback from you on things that you want us to talk about, things you want to see, and everything along those lines.
Yeah. Again, we've said from the start we ain't the most intelligent people, but we are passionate race fans, and so yeah, we got a couple things up the sleeve that we think we're going to roll out and hopefully keep it entertaining for you guys and bringing on more and more viewers and ideas and feedback, and love to just get the racing community involved and chatting together about just a wide variety of racing, dirt, blacktop. And so, yeah, we love it. Obviously as a gas man, 2 hours on the dot right now as we speak. So yeah, about to come in for another round of feel only stops. So yeah, heck of an episode. Had a ton of fun doing it. As we said, tried something new, and had a ton of fun. So as always, give us your feedback, what you like, what you didn't like, and also throw in some racing comments. Would you Cup Series, our picks, your pick, what your thoughts were on the cut race, and then yeah, we'd love to get a little feedback on the live looking that we kind of did. So as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and as always, keep the stones rolling, keep them hot. We'll catch you guys next week.